Hello students. Yesterday we have learned about thermal expansion of solids, means how many types of thermal expansions are there, and in daily life how can it helps us to retain something, or where this knowledge can be used. I've already told you that. Today let's see a term, thermal stress. As you are, I have already told you that if we apply simply, or if we add some external energy to any solid body, then there will be thermal expansion. Means if thermal energy or heat energy we will supply to any solid body, then there will be change in length, or change in volume, or change in surface area will occur. And also you know that in case of solid, if if we are adding some energy, it means that we are doing some external work on the system, and it means that there is an application of force on this. Means we are applying a deforming force on the system, and due to that the change in configuration is taking place. So there can be also concept of mechanical properties of solid can arise here, and we can calculate easily what will be the Young modulus for the material of solid in terms of thermal stress, or simple what will be the thermal stress applied due to the addition of heat energy. Means if we want to calculate what will be the value of force which or deforming force which can change in its change in the configuration of the solid, we can easily calculate that with the help of Young modulus formula, as we have. Simple. First let's see the case of linear expansion. As you know that in Young's formula that was for change in length, means for the longitudinal stress and for the longitudinal strain. So and longitudinal strain is nothing but change in length to the original length. So first to determine that, let's see, we have already the formula for thermal expansion, linear expansion, and in linear expansion change in length is equal to alpha L delta T, where alpha is coefficient of linear expansion, L is original length, delta T change in temperature due to which there is change in length takes place. So we can calculate delta L by L from here, and you know that this is change in length upon original length. This is also known as longitudinal strain, and its value will be alpha delta T. Now as we know that the Young modulus for the material of the body is given by longitudinal stress upon longitudinal strain. So from here we can easily calculate what will be the value of longitudinal stress. Since here we are using heat energy, we are changing temperature, so in place of longitudinal stress we can write easily there thermal stress, because we are providing thermal energy to the system. If we will provide simple, we can easily provide a lot of energy to the solids to get the change in their configuration, like mechanical energy, other any energy. Means there are a lot of energy that can be electrical energy that can be provided to the solid, but here as we are using thermal energy, that's why we can write it thermal stress. So we can calculate easily what will be the value of thermal stress from here. So value of thermal stress or longitudinal stress, simple, longitudinal stress or thermal stress, this will be equal to Y into longitudinal strain. From here this will be, and we have the value of longitudinal strain, which is alpha delta T. So we can easily calculate what will be the thermal simple stress applied on any solid material for the change in length, and that will be equal to y alpha delta t. Clear, I think. Again, as we know that if we want to calculate exact force applied by the thermal energy, and that, as you know, that stress is F upon A, force per unit area. So if we multiply area here A, then we can easily obtain what will be the value of deforming force for the area A to which there is change in length occur. Okay. So I think simple what will be the thermal stress is clear to you. It's nothing but only this term I have told you because we are using heat energy, we are changing temperature, and due to that particular case the longitudinal stress can be written as thermal stress, and its value can be obtained in terms of alpha and delta t. Means if we know coefficient of linear expansion for a particular material of the body, then and obviously for the simple known value of Young modulus of elasticity for the material, then we can easily calculate for the particular change in temperature and fixed area what will be the deforming force applied for the change in length. So if this factor is clear to you, now let's see what will be the case of thermal expansion in liquids. So let's see that. So in case of liquid, as you already know that liquid has no shape. So for study of expansion of liquid, suppose we or consider we put liquid in any container, and now we are going to provide heat to that container. So after providing heat, container will expand due to thermal expansion of solid, as I have already told you. But if there will be expansion in the container, though definitely there will be some expansion in the volume of the liquid. So this type of change in volume or simple expansion in liquid, then known as apparent change or simple apparent expansion. But suppose that if there were not any expansion in container, then for that case we shall study the real expansion of liquid. So if container is not expanding, means we have to calculate the real change in volume of the liquid after providing heat to the container or simple heat to the liquid. So that case is known as real expansion of liquid. So there are two cases. First case is that if there is expansion in a container occur, then there is the expansion of liquid can be simple study in terms of apparent expansion. And if there is not change in there or simple there is not expansion of container occur, then for that case we have to study about real expansion of liquid. And in this case definitely there will be only volume expansion will take place, and so we can define two types of coefficient of thermal expansion in liquid. First is real coefficient of real expansion, and simple second is coefficient of apparent expansion. So what will be the coefficient of real expansion? So coefficient of real expansion is nothing but it is change in volume per unit volume per degree rise in temperature. As we have already know that delta V is directly proportional to simple its volume and change in temperature. So after solving it, we can write here some constant. Suppose that this is for real expansion gamma r, where V delta T. So we can write easily gamma r equal to delta V upon V delta T. So that was I was telling you change in volume per unit volume per degree rise in temperature is known as coefficient of real expansion. In the similar manner, we can easily define coefficient of apparent expansion, that will be change in apparent volume per unit volume of the container, and simple per degree rise in temperature. Means if there is change in real change in volume, real expansion of liquid takes place, so this is can be defined as gamma r equal to change in real volume of the liquid per unit volume per degree rise in temperature. And if apparent, we are taking the case of apparent expansion, then we have to define it like change in apparent volume of the liquid per unit volume per degree rise in temperature. So I think both the factors are clear to you now. We can also denote that with the apparent coefficient of apparent expansion by gamma A. So I think in both cases you don't any problem. So what is the two types of expansions always in liquid takes place depending on the container in which we are taking that liquid. If that container shows the expansion on the application of heat, then there will be simple apparent expansion. And if that container will not show any types of expansion on the addition of heat, so then for that case we have to study about real expansion. So if this factor is clear to you, now let's see one relationship between real expansion and apparent expansion. So that is given by real expansion is apparent expansion plus this is the volume simple expansion in case of solids. Means simple sorry guys, as you know that if we will provide some thermal energy to any solid, then solid will show the volume expansion, and for that volume expansion we will have coefficient of volume expansion. So that coefficient of volume expansion for the solid is denoted by here gamma g. And as I have told you that if that container will expand, then there will be expansion of a liquid volume also takes place, and that expansion is known as apparent expansion. So this is the apparent expansion, means if we will add both two, we will get real expansion of the liquid. Means what is the real expansion or coefficient of real expansion for the liquid? We can easily obtain that with the help of these two factors, real apparent expansion of liquid and simple volume expansion of solid. So I think in this factor, though there is no confusion, simple from here it's clear that gamma r is greater than gamma A. So now let's see some properties of water. As you know that water shows some anomalous behavior. So what is the reason behind that? While we provide temperature to water, so for a particular liquid water, let's see its behavior on the addition of thermal energy. So let's see the anomalous expansion of water. As we provide some or we add some external thermal energy to the water, then water shows some extraordinary behavior. This one is the graph between volume and temperature. Starting when we start to increase the temperature, then its volume is started to decrease. Means normally, as we know that if we will increase temperature, then there is increase in volume takes place. But in case of water, for a particular temperature, means for 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, first its volume decreases. After that it will show, after 4 degrees Celsius it shows normal behavior like other liquids. Means for that V is directly proportional to T. But below the 4 degrees Celsius, it is not proportional to the volume is not proportional to temperature, but and it decreases with the increase in temperature. Means there is inversely proportional relationship between volume and temperature. So this behavior of liquid is known as anomalous simple behavior of liquid, and this also helps to retain the aquatic culture aquatic species in the winter season. And I think simple to you. We can also explain it in terms of density. It means simple for 0 to 4 degrees Celsius density of water increases, and at 4 degrees Celsius it becomes maximum. And after that, with increase in temperature, it started to decrease as other liquids. So these types of behavior means they started to decrease with the increase in temperature. So this means at 4 degrees Celsius water becomes more dense. Means we can easily explain the how in winter season aquatic animals can save themselves. And in winter season actually, when temperature decreases, temperature of surrounding decreases, then the water in the lake also, the temperature of water in the lake also decreases. And with decrease in temperature, simple there will be increase in density takes place, and when it reaches to 4 degrees Celsius, then it becomes maximum more dense. And for the more dense water, means some point if at the surface there is more dense water, and means that water comes down, and also the less dense water rises up, and till rising up, suppose the if the temperature of surrounding falls down to 0 degrees Celsius and or simple below 4 degree, then it freezes on the surface of the lake. And the more dense liquid means the liquid at temperature 4 degrees Celsius easily retain itself, means that is in the bottom of the lake, and that's why the bottom of the lake has temperature 4 degrees Celsius, and the upper surface has temperature equal to surrounding, and due to which the upper surface of water means less dense water becomes freeze at the surface. So means there is ice on the surface, but below the ice there is more dense liquid which has temperature 4 degrees Celsius, means that liquid will not freeze, and due to that aquatic lives can easily retain themselves in even in minus temperature, means they can easily retain themselves in winter season due to this extraordinary behavior of liquid, extraordinary property of liquid. This helps us to always to retain that aquatic culture. So I think this behavior is very important, and actually extraordinary behavior, so that helps us in our daily life. So I think this anomalous behavior of water means when we increase temperature, then what will be expansion of liquid. So simply first, when we increase temperature of the liquid, then they will not show any expansion. On opposite of that, they show compression, and after 4 degrees Celsius they start to show expansion with the increasing temperature. So I think now this is clear to you. Now let's see the effect of temperature on the density of solids or liquids. Means how can we explain it in terms of density. So let's see that. Let's see what will be the effect of density or simple effect of temperature on the density of the liquids or solid material. So for the case of solid, let's see that. As we all know that when we add or when we change temperature by amount delta T, there will be some expansion in volume takes place in case of solid, and that volume is given by this term. Suppose that the final volume becomes V dash and original volume is V, then we can write the change in volume, the V dash minus V gamma V delta T. We can also write it V dash equal to add this here and take V common, so this will be gamma delta T. So we can also write it in forms of that. Now suppose that rho is the density of solid liquid in simple originally, and rho dash is the density of the liquid or solids after changing temperature delta T. So we can write B equal to m upon rho if m is the mass of the liquid or solid taken, and also we can write V dash as m upon rho dash. So in place of V dash and V, we can use these two things, and this is the density originally means at temperature some T I, and this is density of the solids or liquid at temperature Tf, and delta T is simple difference between these two temperatures. Means if we will change temperature by Ti to Tf, then there will be change in density rho to rho dash. So we can write here m upon rho dash equal to m by rho 1 plus gamma delta T. So again we can write from here 1 upon rho equal to, rho dash equal to 1 upon rho 1 plus gamma delta T, or rho dash equal to rho 1 plus gamma delta T or minus 1. If we will solve it first order expansion of binomial expansion, then we will get minus delta T gamma. So this shows the relationship between temperature and density of the liquid or solid. Means if we increase temperature, there will be decrease in density takes place by an amount gamma rho delta T. It's very simple that if there is increase in volume, then definitely there will be, for constant mass, there will be definitely decrease in density takes place. So I think this is simple, clear to you now what will be the effect of temperature on the density of solids or liquids. Water is only exceptional case in case of liquid, because water shows increase in density with the increase in temperature, but here with increase in temperature decrease in density we are seeing. But for 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, water shows the different behaviors than the other solids or liquids. So I think this is clear to you what will be the effect of density and what will be the effect of temperature on density, volume, area, length, and all these things I have told you. Means the case of thermal expansions in case of solids and in case of liquids. Now let's see what will be the case of thermal expansion in case of gases. Well, gases show any types of thermal expansion or not when we change in temperature. As you know that there is also no definite shape of the gases, so that's why as in case of liquid we had two cases, apparent expansion and real expansion. Here there is not that types of case. So what will be the expansion in that case? Let's see that. So for the expansion of gases, thermal expansion of gases, when we add heat energy, as already gases molecules are possessing Brownian motion, means if we will add some thermal energy, then they will show more expansion than solid and liquids. And definitely, and in this case one more property is that the coefficient of expansion, coefficient of volume expansion will depends on temperature here. As in case of liquid and solid, it is nearly almost independent of the temperature changes, but means it is constant for in case of liquid and solid. But in case of gases, gamma, this coefficient of expansion, thermal expansion will not be constant, but it will be dependent on the temperature. So let's see how it will depends on the temperature. As we have the gas equation for ideal gas, which is Pv equal to nRT, and if there will be suppose that there is at constant pressure we are changing temperature, so there will be change in volume takes place. So we can write here is that there is delta V volume change takes place on the change in temperature delta T. So divide these two equations, we will get divide 2 by 1. Delta V upon V equal to delta T upon T, or we can write 1 upon T equal to simple delta V upon V delta T, as this value is the value of gamma, change in volume per unit volume per degree rise in temperature. So this is the coefficient of thermal expansion, and this is inversely proportional to temperature. Means if there is increase or decrease in temperature, then according to that there will be change in coefficient of thermal expansion, and if there will be change in coefficient of thermal expansion, then definitely for that there will be greater or smaller change in volume takes place. So that terms also in case of gases is responsible or simple for the change in for the expansion of gases. Means due to the change in this value, also gases shows more expansion than the liquids and solids. So simple, I've told you all the thermal expansion in all cases means liquid, solids and gases. So I think that is completely now clear to you. So if this concept is clear to you, now let's see, let's study a new concept, which is specific heat or heat capacity. So first let's say it starts with definition. What is the specific heat or heat capacity? So let's see what is the specific heat capacity. Experiment shows that when we add heat to certain amount of mass, if masses are fixed for different substances, and now we are providing heat energy to it, then we see that there are different change in temperature takes place. Means suppose that if we provide some delta Q energy to substance of mass m to different substances, everyone has mass m, and we are providing delta Q heat to them, then the change in temperature, suppose that this is delta T, this is different for different substances. Means the nature of substances also has an important role in case of thermal physics. Means in thermal phenomena we also have to acknowledge by the nature of the system, nature of the matter, and that nature of the matter will provide us more information and more precise knowledge about the thermal phenomena. Because as I told you that for same masses, different substances can show different behavior for our different change in temperature. So as it's been seen that this heat is directly proportional to mass m, and also this is be proportional to change in temperature T. So we can write with the help of these two equations, that will comes out to be delta Q is directly proportional to m delta T, or on removing this proportionality constant, there will be some proportionality, we will have some constant as m delta T, or simple we can also write S equal to delta Q upon m delta T. This quantity, this proportionality quantity S is known as heat capacity of the simple gases or any other word. Okay. So I think this is simple, clear to you what is the heat capacity. So in simple word, if we want to define heat capacity, then it is defined by heat required to change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius of certain amount of mass. Means for a certain amount of mass m, heat required to change its temperature by 1 degree Celsius is known as heat capacity of the liquids or gases or solids. So simple, I think this is simply clear to you. If there is certain amount of mass means and for that if we want to change 1 degree Celsius temperature, then what energy is supplied to, what thermal energy is supplied to the body is known as its heat capacity. So it means that heat capacity tells us about the nature of the substance, and simple means that in thermal physics nature of substance has an important role. So we can't neglect it. We have to always see first on which substance we are going to study. So I think now the concept of heat capacity is now clear to you. Here I want to tell you one more concept, which is specific heat capacity. So what is the specific heat capacity? Later I will tell you about the specific heat capacity, but here I just want to tell you its definition. If this mass is taken as 1 gram or 1 kilogram, means if we will fix the mass of the substance by 1 kg or 1 gram, and then this heat capacity is called specific heat capacity. Means for a specific value of mass, the heat required to change its temperature by 1 degree Celsius is known as its specific heat capacity. So I think in both factors now it's clear to you what is heat capacity. Means for any amount of mass m, the heat required to change its temperature by 1 degree Celsius, but specific heat capacity, heat required to change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius of 1 gram mass or 1 kg mass of the substance. So I think both definitions are now clear to you. So in next class let's see some other formula and other concepts regarding to specific heat and specific heat capacity, then types of specific heat capacity. Let's see all that, and where we in our means in thermal physics or in our daily life, where all the usage of these quantities or study of these quantities. So let's see that in next class. So I think for today all the things are clear to you. So thank you guys.